NCA helped develop professional licensing and helped gain reciprocity in 33 states.
Robert, NCA is what, 30,000 members?
About 25,000.
25,000 individual cosmetologists. TSA Business Association, 2,400 members. But many of the NCA members, individual cosmetologists, but may also have a crossover, right?
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
And how do you see us maybe working together? In the areas like reciprocity?
Well, partnering with TSA, we'd soon have some reciprocity for all 50 states. And I hope, David, that with this, on behalf of NCA, I can look forward to working with you in TSA on many issues. Another of our shared passions is community service. After Hurricane Hugo devastated most of North Carolina, NCA members helped get 38 salons back in operation within 30 days.
Charitable efforts has been enormous for NCA for years, and the Look Good, Feel Better program?
That's correct.
Okay.
Last year alone, the NCA Look Good, Feel Better program worked with 35,000 patients dealing with the appearance of related side effects of chemotherapy, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Robert, I'm going to ask you, and forgive me just because of time again, but we know now NCA Individual Membership Association, and you're involved in the craft of hairdressing as much as anything, charitable, and we thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
And as I said earlier, it's really important, just from a visual point of view, that you see TSA as part of the industry, not leading it, not following it, but just as a part of the unified effort. David, thank you. And what can you offer to, and you've got 30 seconds, pal.
I can do it very quickly. I, like maybe many of you a number of years ago, didn't know what all these letters meant. It just would blow my mind. NCA, NCDO, all these different AA, BBA, you know, who's who of the beauty industry. And unfortunately, that's the way that government affairs looked at us as well. That's the way that, you know, outside people looked at us, was we weren't united. We need to unite with all the different aspects for the sustainability and the betterment of the whole industry. So we thought that this would be a great opportunity.
On that note, I would like to thank the panel. I hope that this did a little bit to help you see how the whole thing comes together. I'm going to now ask you for a round of applause for the panel. You guys now about to get, if government affairs can be done in a number of minutes, you're about to get it. Here's the update. You know that the main thing that we're focused on is the tax legislation. We're having great success with it. I think we'll get it done. I think we have a real good chance of getting it done in 2002, depending on what happens in Congress. Obviously, the political situation has changed after September 11th. I think the whole world has, and we have to respect that, and we really had made great progress. In fact, we were heading down to Washington on September 11th. There were TSA members, a number of them, with bags in their cars that were flying that night, and I'll remember that day for many, many reasons, but that not being the least of it. But as we look at and keep our contacts up there, talk to Congress and everyone there, we see that the stimulus package, Congress is really going to be focused on two things: counterterrorism and the economy. And how the economic answers come about, the talk of the stimulus package, and how relief might happen there, we see that there might be possibilities to insert our legislation. Our legislation, again, being obtaining that tax credit that would give employers, salons with employees, their credit on the matching amount of FICA. Very quickly, I want to push through how we work government affairs in TSA, and it's this simple. You tell us what's important to you and what you're dealing with, whether it is, hey, there's tax unfairness out there. I can't hire people because they're crossing state lines and there are licensing barriers. I've got environmental regulations that are costing me $1,000 a month. It's not right. I've got labor issues. There's the American with Disabilities Act. There's so many issues that affect us that have real bottom line results, real bottom line effects on us. They're barriers to our ability to do business. We need to see government, of course, as being not a partner with us by any means, but a factor. And the external environment that we do business with, our way of getting that done is through government affairs. Our way of getting government affairs done is through the association. The way we find out from you what's important is we ask. Association can do nothing, to the art of the question, nothing more fundamental than asking what's important. How do we do that? We have a great website, always improving, always coming up with new ways of allowing you to get in there, get messages to us, things that you want to champion yourself, things that matter to you. We have, of course, even at the annual event, you've got the feedback, little computers out front there. When we go out and talk about the Tax Fairness Act, for example, we did it because last year you answered the questions. Are you aware of the legislation? Are you aware of this provision and that provision? 94% of attendees at Symposium last year said, just go get it. So that gave us our marching orders, and it's an enormous part of association work. So that credit to our staff for keeping that communication going. 800 number, and just our networking and our booth setting up. I mean, all weekend I've been talking to people about what they're dealing with. Incidentally, just the tip compliance aspect of it. We're already talking about, okay, what are we going to do to solve the legislative problem? But we've got a lot of members who are still trying to figure out, what do I got to do for tips tomorrow? What are the rules? And our job, of course, is to make that, to educate you in that as clearly as possible, to not have you do more than the law requires, but to make sure that you're at least informed on what that is. And then from there, it's up to you as business people to do it. So I hope we've done a good job on that also. A couple of things that I would add to that. Pay attention to the noisy auction. Government affairs is not an inexpensive thing. We're always going to try to have a little element of fundraising involved. Keep in mind that this year is an election year. If you're inclined to become involved, inclined to become politically active, this is a great year to do it. It doesn't have to be complicated. It involves a telephone call, a letter. We will help you find your way through it. If you don't understand the issue, get educated, read, but help us make it happen. Manuel Benovich, a board member, said it last year really, really well in a smaller meeting. He said, we really need this win. And all of this, being said, what you've seen, we need to have actual victories. It has to go beyond talk. It has to go beyond strategizing. We actually have to narrow down those priorities to the things that we can afford, that we could succeed at. And as I said, I think our priorities now with the Tax Fairness Act and the beginning stages of reciprocity, as Robert mentioned with NCA, they've done work over the years, and that's a big one. That's a real tough one. It's not something that we can get done in a short time. So beginning stages of that. But the Tax Fairness Act, we can succeed at that. But it really, really comes down to the member being educated, being involved, communicating with us, saying, how can I help? And we will walk you through that. On that note, I want to thank you. I hope that this has been useful. We'll do it every year. You'll see a little government affairs update, and we will try to build on this. I apologize that it's not the appropriate place really for questions and answers, but think about how this felt. Was it useful, first of all, and informative? Right. Give us some feedback on how you'd like to see it be in the future, and from the Government Affairs Committee, thank you very much.
Hello. I work, you don't.
All right. Well, what we're going to do right now is just a little musical interlude. And so what I want everybody to do is stand up.
Everybody, come on, stand up. Wow, I've never been on a stage before. It's really bright. Everybody, we're just going to stretch, and we're going to do a little dance in here.
A little dancing. Okay,
All
crank
right.
that
Oh, we
music.
got the mood lighting.
Crank that
All right.
music.
A little higher, please, with the music. Everybody, put your arms up.
Arms up.
All the way up. Bend over, not too far. Don't touch the person in front of you. Shake. Come on, shake it.
Take it out.
Back up.
Back up.
Over to the side. Shake. Back up.
Other side.
Over to the side. Shake. Are they done yet? No. Keep shaking. Back up. Shake one more time. The whole body. I want to see you shake. I can't see you, so I want to see the whole body shake. Bonnie, show them how to shake. Keep shaking. We're not done taking this off the stage yet. You got to keep shaking until we're done. Oh, look at John shaking.
All right, John.
John's getting down. We have a spotlight on John here.
Steven, come and show me the
People up
shake.
here. Come on.
Come on.
Steven, get up here. Marianne.
Volunteers?
All right, everybody. You want to
Go.
put
Go.
You go.
Come on.
All right. Come on, everybody now. Do the hip move.
Get some energy going.
Oh, Patty. Patty's got the hip. There we go. Oh, my. Woo! Okay, everybody. Almost ready. You can almost sit down now. You got to keep dancing. Let's do the right arm. The left arm. Both arms. No arms. Ah, got you, didn't I? All you raise your arms, please leave. Bonnie,
All right.
it's all yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. You guys feel better, a little more energized now? Yeah, shake it out, because what we have going on right now is a very special presentation. It is the TSA Awards. So please welcome back David Wagner.
You guys think you were doing good out here? You should have seen us out back. Yesterday I talked about a way that we wanted to recognize the managing director of TSA, Jill Kohler. We will have a book available at the bookstore, in front of the stage of the bookstore. It's a very large book that you can leave your best wishes for TSA and her child, and we wanted to present that to her. Please do not tell her it's coming. We want to present that to her because she's checking in all the time to see how things are going and managing from afar. You'll have time during this break. You'll also have time during the end of the session. We're going to have the expo will be open at the end of our day, and we're also going to have an open bar. Is that okay with you guys? Yeah? So there's a reason to stick around. You can tiki a little more, or a wiki, whatever you want. This is a great segment. This is our awards presentations. This year we have a really interesting one, our Global Outreach Award. This came about because there was a couple of our members had the opportunity to go and help salon owners in Russia. Now get this, it was in the winter. Committed TSA members. So the award for Global Outreach, Patricia Elzinga and Heidi O'Connor from Ada, Michigan. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Follow me.
Our next award is the Beacon Award. And the way that this came about, the finalists were chosen based on creative entries for Beacon. The winner was chosen was based on inspiration, spirit, passion, and what they want to give back to the industry. Here's the cool part about this one. This award was sponsored by one of our members. It's Marianne Luongo from our membership, donated tickets to ISSE. See, I have a problem with all these letters. ISSE in Los Angeles, air and hotel for 3 nights plus $200 cash. So thank you so much. So I know that they're very excited. We spent some time together. The Beacon Award this year from Von Curtis Academy, Jennifer Rowe. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations. Welcome to the industry. All right. You talking to me? Part of what we rely on for helping build our memberships is a lot of help from the industry, and we've done an outreach to the industry that includes manufacturers helping us recruit new members. And this year we have a manufacturer recruiter of the year has helped TSA in so many ways is Nioxin. So thank you to Nioxin. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. The next is for Government Affairs. It's our Government Outreach Award, and I want to bring Frank back up to present that award. Frank?
Thanks, Dave. Government outreach obviously takes something really special, and this person has made such amazing inroads with her congresspeople, senators from her state, set up meetings and hosted me in her house to go down and help forward the Tax Fairness Act. Regina Webb is the most amazing government affairs member that we have, and she deserves this award. So Regina, please accept it.
Thank you very much. All right. This next award is, can we have the mic? Is the Art of the Question, I'm sorry.
Right, for this year's Art of the Question Award, we thought about how questions stretch people, grow, make people grow, help us dig a little deeper. We also, and I'm sure many of you realize at this point, right questions bring you a whole lot closer to the right answers. So for this person who offers so many intelligent questions and offers gracious and helpful answers, very much on our listserv, and a name I'm sure you'll recognize if you're involved with that, is Robin Hall. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with us here today, so we will make sure that she gets the award. But get on your computers, your laptops back in your rooms if you have them, and let her know.
Ask her why. It's
Yeah.
the Art of the Question Award winner. Okay. We were talking about that backstage. The next award is a very special award to TSA, and the member that's receiving it this year is involved in all kinds of different levels. And whether you're on the list or you're doing work on the committees in a variety of issues, whether it's government affairs or our new learning lounges and so on and so forth, you will see this member over and over again. And it's members like him that contribute to the growth of TSA in so many ways by building it through grassroots. This year's Spirit of TSA Award goes to Mr. Michael Bledsoe from Seattle. Michael here? Come on, Michael. Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you,
Yeah,
David.
appreciate it. All right. Great. Thank you. Could I have a warm reception for our award winners, please? So these are award winners. We're going to ask you to stay on stage for some photo opportunities. We're going to ask you to go and enjoy your networking break. Please be back sharp at 3:30. We have 2 unbelievable presentations left, and the ending will be fantastic. So thank you very much for a wonderful segment. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Bonnie Bonadeo.
Thank you.
Okay, we're getting to the final stretch here. We got two very powerful presentations that are going to take place here. But I got some housekeeping to take care of. Everybody's running back. They're going, and tell them this and tell them that. So I have to take notes. Please, we got a couple complaints. Can you guys turn off your cell phones? Let's show that etiquette and manners still exist in this room, okay? Thank you. Put them on vibrate. It's always more fun that way anyway. Want to do another reminder about the Tuesday education tomorrow. We have Kate Trott coaching strategies. She's going to be in Ballroom D. This is the corner over here is Ballroom D. And then we got Rosaria Salon Spa. They're going to be doing a complete how to start a spa, what are the things you need to think about if you were going to go spa. They are going to be in Ballroom A, which is this corner right here. So that's a Tuesday education. It's still not too late to sign up if you decide to stay and hang out with us another day. We'll make it fun, I promise. Let's see. Don't forget that if you're interested in buying the audio tapes or CDs of this program or a particular speaker, that you can do that at Conference Copy. And Conference Copy is in our TSA registration booth right as you walk up the stairs. You can buy them here, or you can order them and have them sent to you after you get home. So that's an option for you if there was some good information you wanted to get a little bit more of, or you might have missed one of the speakers. And let's see. Oh, and on May 22nd, Frank Zona wants me to share with you that they are doing a Welcome to Our World tour on Capitol Hill. And what this is that TSA members go to the Hill and they do about 300 Congress people and their staff's hair and nails. Kind of as a goodwill gesture of this is who we are as an industry, please listen to us. So that's happening on May 22nd of this year, and if you're interested in finding out more about this trip and you'd like to participate, they're having a sign-up reception in Imperial 2 from 6 to 7 tonight. And then again, Expo's open till 6 o'clock, and then we're doing a Expo reception from 6 to 7 as well. Like that. So this is it for me up here. You guys have been so good to me. I love you, really. Just wanted to find out, you know, we started out with this program and talking about fulfilling our purpose and why you're here. And I just want to hear an applause if you guys really felt you got something, you got some of your questions answered. Very good. Very good. I'm excited to hear that because I'm gonna really be clear about my purpose next time, that I'm not gonna have this energy where the mics keep going out on me, right? That's for next time. So at this point, what I would like to do is we have two very special guests we're going to bring up, and then we're going to get on with our final two speakers for this program. So first, who I'd like to introduce, he's the National Artistic Field Manager for L'Oreal Professional, Theo Perry.
Thank you. Wow. Hello, everybody. Hi. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to TSA. This is actually my first event, or coming to Miami to the TSA event, and it's absolutely amazing. Kudos to all of you. I'm here, I've been asked to share a little information about L'Oreal Professional. We have four core values, that being education, innovation, creativity, and partnerships. I feel like I'm going to start with partnerships. For me, growing together is challenging, it's rewarding, and it's a beautiful, beautiful end result once you've reached your goals together. All of you being here, part of this reflects that. I sat down and I looked at everything, and the ultimate question was, what's going to happen? Where are we moving to? And I feel we're already there. We're moving together in partners. We're growing and expanding and sharing information. L'Oreal Professional takes that on a global essence. We have partnered with over 100 million hairdressers worldwide, and we're going to continue to grow and partner as time passes by. Partnerships extend in the roles of L'Oreal Professional USA with Redken and Matrix. So we are all moving together in this industry as one. Education is the cornerstone. This is why we're here. We've arranged for 6 academies across the country. We have Soho as our flagship in New York. I was amazed after September 11th to find people were coming in from Florida, South Carolina, Michigan, to continue their education after such a very, very impactful event. I applaud them. I think they feel growing with education and moving forward and learning was that important that they came, they got what they were looking for, then they left and took it back and shared it with everybody in their salons. That brings me to innovation, technology. We're in a world now where we work with pure tone colors, colors that have no base. We work in a world now that color does lift color. We have these technologies available to us. We work in a world where permanent hair color now develops in 20 minutes and will give you up to 2.5 levels of lightening. We need to explore these technologies, take them back and make them work for you in your salon. With the technologies that are available, it's you, the hairdresser, that brings the creativity. Creations on an artistic level, which saw at Naha, absolutely a beautiful work. But without you, the creative spirit, and showing the artwork of hairdressing, nothing would be possible within this industry. So show a round of applause for yourself, your creativity, your drive to learn and grow through education, and move the industry together as one. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. These people are our sponsors, and I can't tell you what a great honor it is to have them and their participation in this program. So our final sponsor for this evening, she's a very well-known lady in this industry and a delight to be around, and that is Miss Ann Mincey. She is Vice President of Global Communications for Redken 5th Avenue, NYC.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to ask you a question. When you heard the news on September 11th, how many of you wanted to call home the very first thing? You wanted to get in touch with your family. Did you? Applause, hands, whatever. Me too. It was the first thing that I did. Actually, I was standing on 5th Avenue and I looked down and the entire 5th Avenue was stopped as we watched the first building burning. And then, as you all saw perhaps on CNN time and time again, I was eyewitness to that burst of fire that came out of that second building. And the first thing I did, before I could get even into my building, I got my cell phone out and I called my mom. And my mother, I don't know what I'm going to do the day that I can't hear her voice. My mom said, honey, no matter, you know what, I was just reading in my devotionals this morning, she said, and she said, no matter what is going on, Jeremiah said, God is in charge. And she said, if you'll just, no matter what is going on, God is in charge. And she said, if you'll just tuck that away in your heart today, I know you'll get through the day. And I did. And I have every day since then. I am right now as I'm shaking on this stage. God's in charge. Well, I was thinking for us in our business world, all of us need a home that we can call. We need a place that we can call and get that sure, clear, reassuring voice that says no matter what's going on, no matter what the drama is that may be going on in your life or in your salon, we're here for you. And for some of you in this audience, I know you've been with Redken for maybe 30 years. Wayne and Margie are here, and Brenda's here, and Diane's here, and Sandy, and I can go on and on. Frank and Belinda, you guys have been, you've called Redken. You know we're there for you. You've called home to Redken. Some of you started in beauty school with Redken. Remember pH and the papers and the acid mantle and the polypeptide chains? And back then you called Redken home. But it might have been a long time since you have, and some of you have never called Redken home and may never. And yet what my job here today was, what my feeling was, is what I needed to say to you, is that there is a number you can call at Redken, and you will get a calm, sure, encouraging voice, and it's mine. And I want you to take out your pencils and your pens and your paper and your workbook and write it down somewhere. Some of you will say, I'll never call her, and that's okay. But some of you, if you ever just need somebody to listen to the drama, or if you want someone to celebrate with you what has gone on, the vision that you're setting for your salon based on what you might have heard here this weekend, the vision of Redken always, that we want you all to earn a better living and live a better life, and that we're based on the values of science, fashion, and inspiration. And if you just need to have somebody to listen to what's going on in your world, as my mom did for me on September 11th, here's the number. I want you to write it down. 1-800, you can call on Redken's nickel, 1-800-543-3839, 1-800-543-3839, extension 4761. If I'm at my office, we will talk. If I am on the road, I will call you back within 24 hours. And those of you who have called, I hope you know that that is a promise. All I want to do is extend the invitation that Redken is there for you. I am there for you. Call home. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.
Please welcome TSA Vice President of Communication, Stephen Brooks.
I said it gonna set my soul. Zippity! All right. I can talk. I can walk. I can do this. Wow, what a couple days we've had. This has been fabulous. I wanted to test something, though. Rookies. It's not bad for 2 days ago. Wait, rookies? Okay, you guys hear that? Those are all the people that have never been to symposium before. We had them at a reception training, tell them how to act at symposium the next 2 days, go to bed early, easy on the drinking, lots of notes. So anyway, that's what we decided to do. This last 2 days, I just want to thank everybody for all the support that they've given TSA, for the commitment that you made to your business, and to one another as salon owners. I think we're on the right path and turning the corner to something that's going to be great. So I thank you all, and I congratulate you all for that. For the people that went to Naha, I apologize for swearing on stage, as I try not to do that, but I had to that night because it was Irvin Rusk. It would not be appropriate without that. We have a program right now that we tried to do last year, but we couldn't get it on. We brought them in this year. It probably couldn't be a more appropriate time. And I get a chance, imagine Stephen Brooks introducing an F-15 fighter pilot. How do you figure that? How do you figure that? Jim Murphy is a guy I got to meet about 2 days ago. We've been hanging out, catching up. He's a new buddy. He's going to sign on his book, send it to me in Vegas. And he committed to that. Jim Murphy, imagine this. Y'all went to beauty school, right? Every day that you were in beauty school, he was flying a F-15. Every day you were in beauty school. The entire day he was flying an F-15. He's logged over 1,200 hours in an F-15. He's logged over 3,200 hours in high-performance aircraft. We think our job is tough. He had to always make sure 45 fighter pilots were ready to deploy worldwide. We have a hard time getting ours to a meeting. And we have changing environments as well. These guys live in a changing environment. There's probably not a better analogy with the business world today about how to deal effectively and execute effectively in rapidly changing environments. Murph, that's what we're all going to call him today. Let's try that, Murph. Very good. See, I told you they're sharp, Murph. He just finished writing a book. He started a company in 1996 called Afterburners. There's 45 pilots that train business executives worldwide. He's trained over 100,000 business executives. And his company this year was just awarded to the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies in America. Ladies, I'll have you know, you would love to be his wingman. Maverick's got nothing on this cat. Let's give a warm TSA welcome, Jim Murphy. Out there today. And I thought fighter pilots could party pretty hard. That Aveda party was awesome. So let me try it one more time. TSA, how's everybody doing out there today? Okay, that's what I thought. I knew you were made up of the fighter pilot heart. Well, I really appreciate that great introduction from Stephen. Like he mentioned, my name's Murph, President and CEO of Afterburner Seminars. We're a group of 45 men and women fighter pilots, no kidding, real fighter pilots that travel around the world talking to leaning forward, cutting-edge companies and organizations just like each and every one of you in the audience today. And we focus on one thing and one thing only. And what do you think that is? Combat, right? We have a saying that business is combat. And more than ever today, for the members in the audience, you realize that your business is combat versus last year, last month, or even yesterday. Because what's combat? A rapidly changing, challenging, and for us sometimes, hostile environment. Sound familiar sometimes? Back in the salons? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk to you about how fighter pilots execute flawlessly in these environments, based on the tools and techniques that the Air Force, Navy, and the Marines have taught us. So let's get started. Again, Stephen told you a little bit about my bio. I'm an F-15 instructor pilot. I have over 2,600 hours of flight time flying the F-15 all over the world. And not only have I been in these combat boots pulling up to 9 Gs in a $30 million F-15, but like most of the men and women on our team, we've been in your combat boots before as well. We've been on a cold call, in a closing situation, looked at a balance sheet, talked about customer satisfaction surveys, thought about growing our business. We've grown our business almost 900% since its inception, so I think our team knows a little bit about the business of combat. So let's get started. First of all, how many people out there have seen the movie Top Gun? Raise your hands. Okay, good. I'm glad everybody's seen that. I've seen it once or twice, as you can imagine. Top Gun. Characters were Goose and Mav, I think. Is that right? Remember those dogfight scenes during Top Gun? Goose and Mav flying along with their hair on fire, going Mach 2 above the desert floor. Mav with the oxygen mask, casually dangling in the breeze. Goose going, hey Mav, what bar are we going to go out to tonight? I don't know, but watch the mountain. You remember those scenes? Well, I'm here to tell you that when you're flying in the front office, in the pointy end of a $30 million single-seat F-15, that ain't quite the atmosphere up there. There's a lot going on, right? In the F-15 alone, there are over 350 switches and dials to monitor in the front office. You're flying sometimes 2 times the speed of sound, pulling up to 9 Gs, or 9 times your body weight. Now, Murph, I weigh 200 pounds at 1 G, where we're all at right now. So at 9 Gs, I weigh almost 1,800 pounds. Just the human head weighs a lot. The average human head weighs 7 to 10 pounds. So at 9 Gs, your cranium weighs almost 100 pounds, and if you're a Marine fighter pilot, 486 pounds at 9 Gs. Hope we don't have any Marines out there right now. That was for you, Stephen. There's a lot of other things going on as well. There's technology that you're trying to monitor in the cockpit. You're trying to lock onto 2, 4, 6, 8 bogies electronically and then get your head out of the cockpit at 10 miles so you can visually pick up the threat. And while you're doing this very, very quickly, you're also maneuvering in a 3D environment. And oh, by the way, you don't want to hit the ground, because if you hit the ground as a fighter pilot, it's a real bad day. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Sound familiar to what's going on in your salons sometimes? Well, I'm going to show you a videotape of a real dogfight. It's of myself dogfighting another high-performance jet fighter, an F-18 Hornet, and one of the most simple, basic things we do as fighter pilots. We call it BFM, Basic Fighter Maneuvers. A 1v1 engagement, one of us against one of them. I want you to watch this videotape very closely. And I want you to notice that this videotape is not a combat mission, it's a training mission. But I want you to notice the intensity in the cockpit. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in a real 1v1 engagement, there are no ties, there are no second place finishes. You have one winner, one loser, and the loser dies. So let's sit back, relax. Let's go fly the F-15. Roll the dogfight tape, please.
Yeah, turn it. Say again, pass. Left to left pass. Happy left to left.
Just like the movie Top Gun, right? Now, I know this is a great group to pull my favorite heavy breathing jokes, but I'll wait for that for later. Maybe a little bit different than what you expected to see or what you've seen in the movies. Was it? I mean, I talked about the 350 switches and dials that are very important to monitor in the front office. I talked about monitoring all the technology that's going on, all the important things that are going on in the front office. Did you find it kind of unusual that Murph was spending 90% of my time outside the cockpit, not looking inside the cockpit? Did you understand that? Did you see that? Kind of unusual. What do you think I was focused on or concentrating 90% of my attention on? The enemy, the threat, right? Because we have a saying in the fighter pilot world that if you ever lose sight, you lose the fight. If you ever lose sight of your external or internal threats, you'll lose the fight. I mean, I was so focused on keeping track of the threat. Pulling 9 Gs, almost popping every vertebrae in my neck, willing to almost put the F-15 out of control to keep sight of the threat. We think it's a great analogy for air combat and a very fitting analogy for the business world today. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to talk to you about how fighter pilots execute in rapidly changing, evolving environments. And we use something that we call the flawless execution model at Afterburner seminars, and that's the day in the life of a fighter pilot, how we get through a mission. The first thing that we do before we go Mach 2 with our hair on fire is we actually go into a room and we plan a mission. And we do it in a very, very specific way. We take the general vision of an organization and focus it down to something very specific that you and I can execute upon right now, today. After we plan the mission, we brief the mission to everybody that's going to carry it out to make sure everybody understands it. Then we step out to the jets, strap the jets on, and we're ready to turn and burn. We're ready to execute the mission. And the biggest stumbling block to flawless execution is something that we call the silent killer, task saturation, or task overload. And I know none of you are ever task saturated in your salons, are you? So we're going to talk about how fighter pilots deal with this. And then last but not least, when the mission is over, we always debrief the mission. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in my world, if we don't learn from our mistakes and we repeat them, some people don't come home from their missions, even in training. So that's the flawless execution model. If you do this every day, plan, brief, execute, debrief, ultimately you will win, and you'll have what we call flawless execution. So let's get started. First of all, we believe that there are similarities between what we do and what you do out there each and every day. First of all, there are similarities in you and I as individual fighter pilots. As fighter pilots, we have to leap out of bed every day ready to embrace change. And change happens very strategically and tactically in our cockpits. It happens in three ways. Changing environment that we have to overcome, embrace. Changing technology, and threats, both internal and external. So let's first talk about changing environments. As an F-15 fighter pilot, I can be flying along over a hot desert floor going Mach 1. How fast is Mach 1? 728 miles an hour at sea level for you statistical geeks. So you could be going Mach 1 over a hot desert floor. 12 seconds later, you could be rolling inverted over a 10,000-foot mountain with 2.5 feet of snow underneath you, dodging a thunderstorm on the backside, rolling over a lush valley. That's how quickly just the environment that we employ in and deploy in can rapidly change. As salon owners, stylists, managers, is your environment changing just as rapidly? We've talked a lot about what's happened since September 11th, but how about other things? Market segmentation. I mean, how do you differentiate yourself right now? 250,000 salons in the U.S. I was talking to Stephen, 900 alone in Las Vegas. We've got grand salons, we've got normal salons, we've got manicures, pedicures, massage, spiritual salons, yoga. Obviously, the market demands diversification. It demands for you to stay on top of this very changing environment. Mergers, acquisitions, we talk to companies every day about that, and I know they're affecting your business as well, not only with distributors, manufacturers, and probably salon owners themselves. Now, how about changing technology? Is it reshaping what you're doing? We just heard about color technology just a second ago. How about the technology that you use as salon owners? How many people in here have websites? Not everybody, right? Even the small salons, you need to embrace new levels of technology, whether it's a website, your email server, which is a great benefit of joining TSA. I mean, it's real-time intel where you can share best practices right away today. Awesome use of leveraging technology. And then how about the changing threat or the competition? As an individual fighter pilot, you can understand that I have to embrace threats all the time. We're not just talking about external threats, like the chains, like Regis, 6,800 locations around the country. But how about the new rental chair trend that's going on right now in your industry? How about mergers and acquisitions? How is that affecting you? Not keeping up with the environment? There are many, many threats out there. So obviously there are a lot of similarities between what I do as an individual fighter pilot and what you do as an individual business fighter pilot. Now, we talked about what we need to do before we go out and execute the mission. So I'm going to run you through what it's like to plan a mission for a fighter pilot. If we can go back off IMAG, please, back on the screen. First of all, in order to get ready to go into a mission, you have to understand there's also similarities in our leadership as well, right? Similarities in the leadership. Who's the gentleman up there in desert camo? You know who that is? Schwarzkopf. What do we call Schwarzkopf during Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield? Sir, right. Not Stormin' Norman. That's right. So Stormin' Norman. Stormin' Norman Schwarzkopf had a huge job on his hands back in the early 90s. He had to take a multinational coalition, people speaking different languages, driving different types of equipment, and bring them on one single sheet of music. And he had to come up with an overall vision for us, right? And his vision was very simple, and that was for us to go out and kick Saddam out of Kuwait, i.e. win the war. Our vision is set by our general officers, just like your vision. But you know what? That's not where the rubber meets the road. The rubber meets the road with each and every one of you, because we have to take that general vision, focus it, mold it, and make it very specific so we can execute our specific mission objectives. So Stormin' Norman, just like Stormin' David Wagner, has a vision for the organization, right? Sourcing and sharing business solutions. So there's similarities on who sets our goals and our objectives, but now let's talk about executing flawlessly and rapidly in your environments out there. First of all, you've got to go into a room and you've got to plan a mission. This is exactly how we plan our missions. We're going to run you through the 6 steps to combat mission planning. The very first step to this process is to determine a mission objective. How many of you work on mission objectives back at home? Now, this isn't a mission statement. This isn't flowery, 2 or 3 sentences long. This is something very clear and precise that we can execute upon right now today. And we say a good mission objective must be clear, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, i.e. believable, and it must support the overall vision of the organization. I want you to think about that for a minute. Your mission objective has to be crystal clear. That's straightforward. It must be measurable. So when you land from your mission, you can look at how well you planned versus how well you executed, and you can get some measurement. And you can change the plan and make it better. And then it must be achievable, i.e. believable. This is the one where a lot of business owners miss the mark big time. Are your quotas too high? Do you de-empower your people before they even step out to the jet? Is your mission objective achievable, i.e. believable? When you're setting mission objectives where men and women are putting their lives on the line, you better make sure they're achievable and believable. And does that mission objective support the overall vision of your salon and the direction that you want to go? I'm going to show you an example of it, a mission objective for me in the military. Destroy the target. Good mission objective? What do you think? Is it clear? Is it measurable? Let's think about that for a minute. Just destroy the target. Is it clear? How many targets are out there? 1 or 400? So this isn't quite going to hack it for us. We're going to have to tighten this up a little bit. Not only destroy the target, but destroy Kabul's C3I, their command, control, communication, and intelligence facility at 1603 Zulu, dropping one 2,000-pound smart bomb down the second-story window of that building. Now, is that clear? Is it measurable? Absolutely. Either you hit the second-story window or you don't. Is it achievable, i.e. believable? Well, yes, it's well within the performance capabilities of the stealth F-117 fighter and the fighter pilot training that supports it. And does it support the overall vision of winning the war? Yes, I can see how my role as a stealth fighter pilot to go out and take out the nerve center, the C3I at 1603 Zulu, shutting down their communication plays a big part in winning. Put me in, coach, I'm ready to play. Do you set your mission objectives that well? Are they that clear, measurable? Do they align your total organization? This might be a good mission objective for Van Michael, a salon right there in Atlanta where I'm at. Van Council with Van Michael might set a mission objective for his group, reduce no-shows 50% by December 31st, 2002. Clear? Absolutely. Is it measurable? Is it achievable, i.e. believable? And does it support the overall vision of growing Van's business? Absolutely. Step number 2 is very, very critical in this process as well. And step number 2 is to identify the threat. And ladies and gentlemen, when your threat is trying to do to you what it's trying to do to us, you get real serious about looking into every aspect of the threat. Now, I know some of you have a hard time visualizing the threat, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. What are your biggest threats out there? One of our biggest threats is something that we call CIA, complacency, indifference, and apathy. I don't care if the economy is good or it's bad. If you're complacent about growing your business, you're indifferent about growing through marketing or establishing new technology or training, and you're apathetic with your employees, you're obviously not going to win in a rapidly changing environment. So identifying the threat and exactly what the threat is. Some of you have a hard time visualizing it, so we're going to paint a picture for you. You have to visualize your threat out there, right? Just put the logo of one of the chain stores that you're looking at over there next to that picture if you want. Now, for us as a fighter pilot, this might be one of our threats. Does anybody know what this is? A SAM, right? Surface-to-air missile. And a surface-to-air missile is a telephone pole-sized missile that has one mission in life, and that's to shoot your butt out of the sky. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see a SAM flying formation with your F-15 this morning, it's a bad day at the office as a fighter pilot. So if you're going to go into an area that has SAMs, you'd probably want an intel officer to plot SAM sites on a map. And this might be what one of those maps might look like. These are SAM sites in Iraq before Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield kicked off. Notice the different size rings. They represent different performance envelopes of those SAM sites. Now, most of you know there are more threats in a combat area than just SAMs. We also have guns on the ground. We call that AAA, the little blue circles. You fly into the little blue circles, bad day. The big blue circles around the entire country represent ground-controlled intercept radar. If you fly into that net, they're going to scramble MiG aircraft within 5 minutes and vector them onto your 6 o'clock position or your tail. Together, they form what we call IADS, Integrated Air Defense Systems, and this is what Iraq's IADS looked like before Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield kicked off. Now, if it was our mission to leap out of bed tomorrow morning at 0600 and fly right down into the middle of that map tomorrow Do you think we get much sleep? Probably not. But if you use step number 3 in this process, I'll show you how to get a few winks, and that is to identify your support assets. Who or what are your support assets? These are the people on your team. These are the vendors. These can even be customers and clients. Do you go deep and really figure out what these people can do for you? If you're a stylist, do you know what the people in the front office are doing? Or the people over in the manicure station? Are you sharing leads and best practices? Identify your support assets. We do that all the time. Do you think I ever spend time with that 18 or 19-year-old crew chief turning the wrench on that $30 million F-15 before I go strap it on? Or spend time with the weapons load group, talk to them and find out what kind of armament they're putting on the side of the F-15 before we go fly it? Identify who or what are on your team before you launch, before you start executing, and I guarantee you, you'll be better off and you'll win in a rapidly changing environment. And then step number 4 is compare your capabilities, your strengths versus their weaknesses. It's usually pretty straightforward if you went through steps 1 through 3. Step 4 is pretty easy. Now, remember that map that I showed you earlier, the impenetrable IADS? Let's take you through the first 4 steps. Determine a mission objective. Take out the C3I at 1603 Zulu. We know exactly where that is. We're going to locate it on the map. It's right in the middle of the map. Step number 2 is to identify the threat. The biggest threat today are SAMs, surface-to-air missiles. The most of them are down to the southern part of the country. The least amount of them are to the north, so we're going to fly in from the north. Step number 3, identify our support assets. Who or what do we have on our inventory sheet, our frag is what we call it, that can help us defeat SAMs? Well, we have wild weasels. They're playing with us today. These are men and women fighter pilots that leap out of bed every day to hunt down surface-to-air missiles. Now, I know that may not sound cosmic because we're talking about this whole fighter pilot thing, but let me tell you how that works. You have to fly right over the SAM radar site and have the SAM radar lock onto you on purpose. And then you play a game of cat and mouse and hope that you can shoot your HARM, high-speed anti-radiation missile, down the radar beam and eliminate the SAM site before they can do that to you. Now, I don't know about you all, but don't put Murph in for that mission. I'm glad we have Marines and other people that love to do that. They call that trolling. I relate that to fishing and not going into a mission. So that's how hunting down SAMs work. After steps 1 through 4, you have to set your timing, and timing is critical in business as it is for us in air combat. Timing is normally based on the threats and weaknesses, your strengths, and the environment. The environment for us could be the physical environment. For you, it could be the social, the political environment. If you're opening up more salons, if you have a 7-chair salon versus a 30-chair salon. And we always set our timing as if the mission is going to go perfectly down to the last second. Why do we do that? Has Murph ever seen a mission go perfectly down to the last second? Never. But the reason we plan them that way is it increases everybody's expectations on where they're supposed to be when at exactly the precise time and altitude. So if the plan doesn't go that way, it's much easier for us to flex. And speaking of flexibility, the last step, probably the most critical step in this process, is planning for contingencies, i.e. asking the what-ifs. The what-ifs ahead of time. What if the weather changes over the target area after we launch? What if the flight lead blows up before we get to the target area? What if the air refueling tankers don't show up and we can't take on fuel? What if we have 2 walkouts, our 2 most highly prized stylists, they walk out today? What if Regis opens up a chain store right on our corner? What if, what if, what if? Ask the questions in the planning phase. Don't brainstorm while you're executing. Execute on the decisions that have already been made in the planning phase. We have a saying in the fighter pilot world that flexibility is the key to air power, and at Afterburner we say preparation is the key to flexibility. For us, the benchmark of success, bombs on target, minimal loss of life, win the war. For you, it's profit growth and market dominance. These are the critical factors of combat mission planning. Now that's how we get ready for a mission. Now let's talk about stepping out and executing the mission. Well, first of all, you need to make sure you brief the mission to everybody on your team. And now let's talk about flawless execution. How many people would like to find out about how fighter pilots eliminate task saturation, which is the biggest stumbling block to flawless execution? I know a lot of you deal with this every single day. Now, we call task saturation the silent killer because it's very, very insidious in its onset. Most of you don't even know you're task saturated when you are. I have 2 friends that aren't here today that flew perfectly good jets right into the ground, i.e. they hit the ground and they didn't even know it. We call it die and relax, and it's definitely not a good day. I want to ask you a question. Were those two friends of mine good pilots or bad pilots? They were great pilots. They were probably doing a great job flying formation, monitoring their instruments, looking at their radar, but they lost track of one thing and one thing only. What do you think that was? The ground, right? What do you mean, Murph? They lost track of the ground. The best trained pilots in the world lost track of the ground? That's how powerful task saturation can be. Have you ever been that task saturated before? We know that people deal with task saturation in three ways. They either shut down or quit, they either compartmentalize, or they channelize. Shutting down and quitting, that's pretty straightforward. Not a good way to deal with task saturation. How about the people that compartmentalize? Are you a compartmentalizer? When you get really maxed out, you go, hey, I've got to put everything in a nice, neat, linear format. I'm going to accomplish this, then this, then this. I'm not going to reprioritize. I'm going to put it in a nice, neat line, and I'm going to accomplish everything until I power through it. Ever been there before? Think that's a good or bad way to deal with task saturation in a very fast environment, like in the cockpit of the F-15, where you have to reprioritize with the latest, greatest data coming at you. Not a good way to handle things, right? But 80% of us, 80% of the time, deal with task saturation in one very specific way. We focus or we channelize on one thing to the detriment of everything else. What's it like to be task saturated in a salon as a salon owner or manager or stylist by 10 o'clock in the morning? Let me guess. The phone's ringing off the hook. The receptionist is late. It's not there yet. Our book is full today. The software has crashed. The water heater went out. 4 of our stylists didn't show up, and our clients are late. Is that pretty standard on a really bad day by 10 o'clock in the morning? So what does the channelizer do? The channelizer focuses on one thing, the water heater, or maybe the client, or the book. And they tell everybody, shut up and leave them alone. I'm going to focus all my attention on this one thing, and I'm going to get it accomplished. Do you think that's a good or a bad way to deal with task saturation? Well, I'm going to put you through an audience participation exercise. It's a very simple exercise. Even our Marine fighter pilots can do this. So stay with me. I'm going to put you through a little bit of a spelling exercise. I'm going to say group, spell hat, and I would like each and every one of you to go H-A-T. Got it? All right, group, spell cat. C-A-T. I know it's late in the day. That was weak. Let's try it one more time. Group, spell cat. C-A-T. Very, very good. Let me see. 3 letters, 1-syllable word. Pat yourself on the back. You just qualified to be a naval aviator. Good job on that. Now, if a fighter pilot messes up and they have to eject or bail out of their jet, they might have to ride one of these down. The silk parachute, we call it the silk letdown. It's definitely not a promotion-gaining maneuver for a fighter pilot. So now let's everybody spell an Air Force word. Group, spell silk. S-I-L-K. Group, what does a cow drink? M-I-L-K. Wow. I think I saw you at that tent last night. Because I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, in Atlanta, Georgia, the cows actually drink water and give milk. If they're not doing that in your region, you might want to have that looked into. That's a little abnormal. Okay, I know that was a little tricky. It's late in the day. We had a big night last night, so I'm going to try one other thing. Group, raise your hand when you know what Y-E-S spells. Just raise your hand. Okay, everybody's hands up. Come on. Y-E-S, it's not a joke. Hands up. Okay, group, everybody's hands down. Group, raise your hand only when you know what Y-E-S spells. Okay, immediately the stylist's hands go in the air. We're about 3 seconds into this. Keep your hands up. E-Y-E-S. All the owners are scratching their head going, E-S, E-S. What the hell does that spell? It's eyes, right? We have 2 of them. They're right here. Wow. I knew this was going to be a challenging group. Well, we think those are fun examples on how you can become channelized, right? How you can be focused on a small thing and let your guard down. Now I'm going to shift gears on you. I'm going to show you a videotape that draws a parallel of the dangers of task saturation and, more importantly, channelized attention. This video was put out by the NTSB, the National Transportation and Safety Board. Everybody's heard of them before, right? And it's a training tape. It's a tape of an airline accident that took place over 25 years ago. Maybe some of you remember this accident, Eastern Flight 401. Now, before we roll the tape, I want to get you up to speed. What's going on inside the cockpit? The mishap aircraft, in this case, is a Lockheed L-1011 aircraft, Eastern Flight 401. And flying this aircraft on this particular night are three gentlemen. In the left seat is the captain, the CEO, the big cheese. In the right seat is the co-pilot or the first officer. And sitting behind the co-pilot or the first officer, sitting sideways, is the flight engineer monitoring the pressurization, fuel, and other instruments in that aircraft. All three gentlemen are required to fly the Lockheed L-1011 aircraft. Now, on this particular night, the first officer is what we call the flying pilot. In the airline industry, they switch off flying pilot duties between the captain and the first officer so they get good at landing, which is a good thing for us as customers, right? So on this particular night, the first officer is the flying pilot. And the first officer is getting ready to land into Miami International. They just left New York's JFK. And on this particular night, the weather's perfect. Crystal clear, it's in the summertime. So the first officer rolls the L-1011 out on a 10-mile final approach into Miami International Airport, turns to the captain and says, "Captain, let's put the landing gear down. Let's run the final descent landing checklist." Captain says, "Roger," reaches up, grabs the landing gear, ka-clunk, puts the landing gear handle in the down level. Pilots look for three things to happen when you put the gear down. Three lights to illuminate on the forward instrument panel indicating that the right main, the left main, and the nose wheel gear are down and locked and in a safe position to land. However, on this ill-fated night, only two out of the three green lights illuminate. The right main, the left main, but no nose wheel light. So our captain, being the sharp CEO, says, "Hey, we've got an emergency procedure checklist for this. Let's go to the page that says nose wheel light fails to illuminate in flight." It directs the crew to take the landing gear up and back down again, i.e. cycle the gear. They do it again, and again, they only get two out of the three green lights. As the video picks up, they've just done this process again for the second time. I want you to watch this cockpit crew, this team, become channelized, and the end result is tragic. Let's roll the tape.
Miami Tower during Eastern 401, just turned on final. Eastern 401 heavy, continue approach to 9 left. Continue approach, Roger.
Now I better try it down one more time.
You want me to test the lights or not?
Yeah, check it.
Which seat back?
Doug, it could be the light. Could you jiggle the light?
It's got to come out a little and then snap in.
I'll put them on. Up to 2,000. You want me to fly, Doug?
What frequency did he want us on?
28.6.
I'll talk to him. All right, approach control Eastern 401. We're right over the airport here and climbing to 2,000 feet. In fact, we've just reached 2,000 feet, and we've got to get the green light on our nose gear.
Eastern 401, roger. Turn left heading 360, maintain 2,000. Vectors to 9 left final.
Left to 360.
I think it's above the red one.
Yeah, I can't get it from here.
I can't make it pull out either.
We got pressure?
Yes, sir, all systems.
Put the damn thing on autopilot.
All right.
The captain just said, "Put the damn thing on autopilot." Up to this point, how do you think our cockpit crew is doing so far? What do you think? Not doing too bad, right? Up to this point? I mean, the captain's the CEO, he's making the decisions, reading the checklist, directing the crew what to do. The first officer, the flying pilot, is flying the aircraft. That's the important thing. And it's at 2,000 feet, and now the aircraft is on autopilot. And the second officer, the flight engineer, is providing mutual support and talking on the radios for the two gentlemen up front. I want to ask you a question. You think it's a good or a bad idea to put a major commercial airliner on autopilot at night 2,000 feet above the ground? What do you think? It's not a bad idea at all. Matter of fact, 80% of you that flew into Miami International for this meeting were probably on autopilot at 2,000 feet. However, when an aircraft is on autopilot, it's the flying pilot's responsibility, in this case, the first officer's responsibility, to monitor the status of that aircraft as if he or she were actually flying it. Now, a little bit on the Lockheed L-1011 autopilot. It was designed that if you apply a push or a pull force of more than 5 pounds, The autopilot says, I think the stupid human wants to fly, don't you? Well, yes, that was a push or a pull of more than 5 pounds, and click, the autopilot is designed to drop offline or turn off. How many of you have ever flown yourself, or a pilot, or flown in the front seat of an aircraft while it was under the command of a pilot? Well, you know there's a very simple rule in aviation. The harder you push forward on the control yoke, the faster the houses get bigger out the front window, right? You pull back, they get smaller. That's all you need to know about aviation. At this point, the captain said, put the damn thing on autopilot. It's my opinion that the captain just might as well have swung around in his chair, looked at his entire crew, and said, hey, crew, let's forget about this problem we have. Let's forget about this flying thing, and let's all three dive in and solve this problem. That's exactly what happens. Watch our first officer, the flying pilot, do exactly that, reaches forward to jiggle the light bulb, and gently bumps the control yoke. Roll the tape.
See if you can put that light out. Well, you got to push this a little bit further forward. Now turn it to the right a little bit. No, I don't think it's going to fit. Hey, get down there and see if that damn nose wheel's down.
Okay. You got a handkerchief or something so I can get a little better grip on this? Anything I can do with? This damn thing just won't come out, Doug. If I had a pair of pliers, I could cushion it with it.
To hell with this. Go down and see if that red line is lined up down there. Don't screw around with that 20-cent piece of light equipment. Eastern 401, I'll go out west just a little further if we can here and see if we can get this light to come on.
All right.
It's always something. We could have made schedule.
Well, we can tell if the damn gear is down by looking down at the indices.
It's got to be a faulty light. Doug, this damn thing just won't come out.
All right, just leave it there.
Eastern 401, how are things coming along out there?
Okay. 180.
Hey,
Well, at this point, the first officer, the flying pilot, decides to come up for air and start flying again. And what does he see? 100 feet, big houses, right? What does he expect to see? 2,000 feet. You think the aircraft could be saved right now? Experts say yes. Push up the power, pull back on the yoke, fly the aircraft away from the ground. But what do you have in this particular situation? You not only have a single pilot that is focused on a 20-cent burnout piece of lighting equipment, you have an entire crew that is channelized or focused on a fictitious aircraft on autopilot at 2,000 feet instead of the aircraft they're actually riding in, because they're not flying at this point, which is in a slow, insidious descent passing 100 feet. Ladies and gentlemen, this crew spends the rest of their lives, the next 12 seconds, trying to figure out what has happened instead of reacting to what is happening now. Roll the tape. Unfortunately, on that ill-fated night, 99 people lost their lives because the cockpit crew of Eastern Flight 401 was focused on a burnout light bulb. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're really all fired up about heading out to Miami International, jumping on Big Delta and flying home now, right? That's not why Murph's showing you that video, trust me. Since that accident, there's been all kinds of changes in the automation of our cockpit, in the tower, with communication, so hopefully an accident like this would not happen again. But why do we show you this videotape? Look how powerful task saturation is. Have you ever been task saturated before? Do these gentlemen look like they were brand new pilots right out of pilot training, or do they look like they had a lot of experience? Do you think they were professionals and they knew their job very well? Task saturation is powerful. Channelized attention is the way most of us deal with it. Now, if you listen to the rest of the keynote, I'm going to show you a few ways that pilots recognize and eliminate task saturation, so when you get to that 100-foot point, you can save the day. So let's get started. First of all, we say that there are 3 ways that pilots deal with task saturation, i.e., 3 tools that we use to eliminate task saturation. And today, for time's sake, we're going to go through 2 of them. But number 1 is the effective use of checklists. 2 is cross-checks to success. And 3 is our fancy term for teamwork. We call that mutual support. So let's first focus on cross-checks. How does a pilot monitor all those gauges at once and be effective at what they're trying to do? The number one objective of any pilot is to maintain aircraft control, i.e. do not hit the ground or anything attached to it. And we do that by doing effective attitude checks. And that's not whether or not Murph comes into work with a smile on his face. It's no kidding the attitude of the aircraft in relation to the Earth's horizon. And the JFK Jr. accident several years ago really highlights the importance of pilots knowing how to fly an aircraft strictly by the instruments, if they fly at night or in the clouds or weather where they can't see the horizon. So if you were going to fly strictly by instruments, this is what a standard instrument panel looks like for almost any aircraft. Notice the instruments up there. There's one instrument located dead center. It's also the largest cockpit instrument. We call that the attitude indicator, or the artificial horizon. It's a ball in fluid. It is the pilot's number one aircraft control instrument. And we are taught when we fly at night or in the weather to check the attitude indicator first to make sure our wings are level, and then check an outside instrument. 2 seconds later, back to the attitude indicator. Another instrument, attitude indicator. Fuel, attitude indicator. VVI, attitude indicator. Heads-up display, attitude indicator. A very, very disciplined cross-check. This might be what it looks like if you had to look at it up close. That's what an attitude indicator looks like. Brown representing the ground, blue representing the sky. If you see more brown than blue, the aircraft is descending, i.e. houses are getting bigger, more blue than brown, aircraft is climbing. And this is what a cockpit scan looks like for any pilot flying solely in reference to the instruments. Now, what would happen if the pilot was to get focused or channelized on one of the outside instruments? Not only is the attitude indicator affected, but the entire equilibrium of the cockpit is affected. And this is how you can go into one of those famous graveyard spirals and have a real bad day. As salon owners, managers, and stylists, everybody out there in the audience, what's your attitude indicator? What do you constantly have to cross-check every day, every week in order to keep your wings level? What is it? It's normally pretty straightforward. Net profit, customer satisfaction. That's your number one cockpit indicator. But we also know that your cockpits are very busy just like ours. There's a lot of other things to keep track of. You're not only keeping track of technology, product knowledge awareness. Next slide, please. Keeping track of employee retention. All the different things that you have to keep track of in your cockpit. But the key is to have a disciplined cross-check just like we do, being very focused and very disciplined. Next slide, please. Thank you. We'll go to manual backup, shoot the stage. Thanks. The second tool that we use, actually the third tool that we use to eliminate task saturation is each other. Top Gun made this famous, right? Never, never leave your wingman. And why in the world do we fly with a wingman in the first place? Does anybody know? Well, yeah, the more airplanes you can get airborne, the more offensive capability that you have. But more importantly, it's defensive capability. We fly with a wingman so we can check each other's 6. And what does that mean? Check your 6. Your 12 o'clock is off your nose, 6 o'clock is off your tail. Murph, you're going 1,500 miles an hour straight ahead. Isn't everything behind you ancient history? Well, the 6 o'clock position is your vulnerable area as a fighter pilot. That's where the heat source of the engines are. That's where the heat-seeking missiles being aimed at. That's where the bogies are trying to ambush you in your blind zone because it's very difficult to fly like this all the time. So there's a reason we always fly with a buddy. I'm going to show you how that works. The second thing that we learn at fighter pilot training, first one, don't hit the ground or anything attached to it. The second one is to always be in position. Never leave your wingman. And what is position for us? Perfect line abreast formation. Not like this, but perfect line abreast formation. Why do we do that? So we can check each other's 6. If you're in the blue aircraft, the first thing you're going to do probably is check off the nose to make sure you're not going to hit anything or check your attitude indicator. Then you're going to check your own 6 o'clock. And if your wingman is upholding their mutual support role, all you have to do is turn your head 90 degrees and you can check their 6 o'clock. And if you're in position, your wingman's doing the same thing for you. Anybody ever seen the Animal Planet and seen what happens to those gazelles on the African safari when one of the gazelles starts flying bad formation with the rest of the herd? Gets whacked by the cheetah or the lion every time? Same thing happens in air combat. You have to stay in position and fly good formation so you can check each other's 6. Well, Murph, that's a cool bit of information. I'll be a hero when I watch Wings with my friends next week, but what does that have to do with me as a salon owner? Do you have a wingman? If you don't show up for work, if you're sick, if you've got to pick up your kids at school, are you really transferring the knowledge to your number 2, your number 3 people in the salon? So if you start getting task saturated and you get close to 100 feet, somebody knows enough about what you're supposed to be doing that they can tell you, hey, you're out of position, start flying formation again. Is somebody checking your 6? If you want to truly eliminate task saturation, the only way to do it is to have a good wingman and have a mutual support role atmosphere in your salon. The last thing I want to leave you with, the most important thing I think we do as fighter pilots, besides flying the mission, is what happens after the mission. We talked about what we do before the mission, planning, right? We talked about that we have to communicate the plan, and then we talked about eliminating task saturation. Now the mission is over, it's time to go home, the beer light's on, right? No, every time fighter pilots finish their missions, they go in a room and they have what we call a debrief. Do you have a debrief in your salons after the execution phase of your business is over? Ours are very, very specific. We set a time and place when we're going to debrief right after the mission, and when we walk into that room, something magical happens. We physically rip the rank off of our shoulders and the name tags off of our chest. That's one of the reasons they're on Velcro. This symbolizes that for the next 45 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, don't bring your rank, don't bring your names, and don't bring your experience into this room. We're going to really look at what went on in the mission based on what we said we were going to do in the planning phase based on what really happened. Because if we don't air our mistakes out, admit our mistakes in front of each other, how can we learn from our mistakes and how can we accelerate our experience? And that's what we do in these nameless, rankless debriefs. How many people have ever seen the Thunderbirds or the Navy Blue Angels fly? Pretty cool stuff, right? 3 feet, wingtip to wingtip, inverted over 300,000 people. Fly some pretty precise stuff. Did you know the average tour for a T-Bird or a Blue Angel pilot is 2 years? They fly the same exact show every single day for 2 years. And they're the best of the best. Do you think they debrief after every one of their missions? They absolutely do. It's a critical component to their flawless execution. Let's go fly with the Air Force Thunderbirds and the Navy Blue Angels, and let's see what they have to say about this very important component to flawless execution, debriefing. Roll the tape, please.
After every flight, the team also goes through a critical debriefing process, which they consider as important as the actual flight itself. They hash out what worked, what didn't, and no punches are pulled.
We are wide open as we can possibly be to criticisms, and we want to become our own worst critics.
We debrief everything. I'll tell you how specific it gets. We even debrief the march to our airplanes and the march back. So, and you get picked on for every little thing. And most of us haven't marched in 10 years of being in the Navy, so they get very, very specific.
The debriefing process takes probably twice as long as the flight took itself. Rank doesn't come into play, experience levels, those are good, but you have to set those aside when the criticism starts to come, because that's the only way you're going to learn the maneuver, and that's the only way you're going to get to where the maneuver looks good and it's safe.
I think I was a little bit late dropping you guys off, so we're a little low going over the crowd. But Other than that, smooth air was nice. It was a little bumpy in spots, but glad we went flying. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Sir Boss, I'm glad we went flying too. Turned out nice. And I had a couple safeties on the left echelon flat pass. Coming over, I didn't acknowledge the go diamond call. Just concentrating on where I was going and how quick my movement was going to be. Then I was 20 feet low in the low break cross, 280 feet, and I can fix all those things. So glad to be here.
All these things are called safeties, or things that were safety problems or violations from our standards. We have really good tapes, videotapes that we look at, and the tape can be stopped, it can be reversed, slowed, played back, and we do a lot of that, and that's how we get toward the levels of performance that we want. We have 2 critiquers on the ground that look at the maneuvers and tell us their impressions basically from where the maneuvers were placed and how it looked to them. We make these mistakes and we fess up to them, and we do it every time we fly. It's just an extremely important aspect of what we do. What we do after we've said it is, I made this mistake and I'll fix it. You always say that you're going to fix it, and what that leaves the rest of us with the feeling is that you've recognized your mistake and you're going to take corrective action not to let it happen again. So it doesn't drop our confidence level in another person in the formation.
If you don't take it seriously and don't debrief, if you ever get complacent, you're going to kill yourself or you're going to kill somebody else. Now, you got to be able to learn each and every time you go flying, because there's never been the perfect flight demonstration yet that the Blues have ever put on. So we're always looking to perfect it.
Never been the perfect flight demonstration that the Blues have ever put on. They look pretty close to perfect to me. What do you think? And you can see how important debriefing plays after every single one of their missions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is critical. Rip the rank off of your shoulders, the name tags off of your chest, have a nameless, rankless environment in your salon after you finish executing your missions. Have that form, have that meeting, walk away with lessons learned, both positive and negative, and expose those to everybody else in your squadron. And I guarantee you, you will accelerate their experience quickly, and you will strive much closer to flawless execution. Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you today. I know we covered a lot of things. What did we cover today? We talked to you about how to execute in rapidly changing environment using our tools and techniques. The 6 steps to combat mission planning. Do you think you can use those out in your salon to grow your business? We also talked about after you plan the mission, brief the mission to everybody that's going to carry it out, and more importantly, while you're executing the mission, identify and eliminate task saturation and especially channelized attention. And when the mission is over, don't go home, go into a room and have a debrief in a nameless, rankless environment. Brief, execute, debrief, and you will win. I'd like to say one thing in closing. I want to say thanks to each and every one of you. About 1/3 of our team is deployed right now at Afterburner Seminars, protecting our nation's borders and around the world. And on behalf of every single one of us at Afterburner Seminars and every single one of the men and women in uniform, we want to thank you for your support, because you guys have been outstanding. Thanks for helping us do what we do out there every day. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Captain Murphy. Give it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, Salon Association, from Afterburner Seminars, from all of us at Afterburner Seminars, kick ass and take names in everything you do for the rest of 2002. And I guarantee you that if you brief, execute, debrief, remember, visualize your biggest competitors, this will be the end result. Roll the tape and crank it, please.